boom mic. Quite a setup I have here. It's crazy. Alexa, tell me a joke.
What do you call a hobbit playing fiddle? Lord of the Strings.
Are you a people pleaser? Then this one is for you. I was a people pleaser pretty much my whole life. And it really came from my childhood. But I wasn't the loud kind, I was the quiet kind. The one that says yes when I actually mean no. And the one that avoids conflict. And the one that will take tasks and do things even though it's stressful. And for a long time I thought that it makes me a good person, that I am kind, that I am helping people, saying yes to people. But eventually I realized that it only made me invisible, and I was lost, not knowing who I am and what I stand for and what I really want. And so today I would like to talk about the topic, being a people pleaser, and how it came up in my life and the cost of it. And of course at the end, how I gradually unlearn being a people pleaser. So if this is something that sounds like you if you feel like you always focused on being liked, then this might hit. Hello, I am Dasha, and on this channel I am talking about personal growth, self-discovery, mindfulness, and everything that comes in between and after. And so if this sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also talk about identity shifts and self-discovery in my ebook. I will add the link down. Go ahead and check it out. And now to the video. My people pleasing started early. I was an immigrant since I was 3 years old, so I always was the outsider. I wanted to fit in and be liked. And as a kid, when you're like this, you quickly learn blend in, be agreeable, be likable, don't stand out too much. But I think a large portion of my people pleaser property came from my relationship with my dad. He was always the laid back, hands off, very chill kind of dad. I'm not saying it was bad, that's just who he is up until today. He did the best he could, the best he knew. Very kind of Slavic kind of education, kind of relationship vibes. After my parents divorced at 10 years old, my dad became less and less part of my life, especially when I moved away from Israel, where my parents live, to Germany, where I am today, 11 years ago. And so when I was younger, my dad would have the approach of just making me happy, keeping me content. Like if I was crying or unhappy about something, he would do anything to just make me happy again, stop me from crying. It doesn't sound bad, right? But in a way, he kind of spoiled me. And so I very quickly learned that content is better than honesty, and peace and comfort goes better than truth. And so as I said, as I grew older, we spoke less and less. He also has his own family, he remarried, and he has his own life. And again, I'm not blaming him for anything, but as a contrast, my mom, we speak pretty much every week, if not more. And when we don't speak, then, she would text me and she'll get upset. Like, let's talk, why didn't you call, blah, blah. This is not the case with my dad. With my dad, we barely speak. And even if we text or call, it would be super short, just making sure that everything's fine. Are you healthy? Is everything okay? And that's pretty much it. And so him not being in contact, not being part of my life, kind of made me feel as if I am not good enough, even though I'm his only daughter. Like, why doesn't he want to be more part of my life? So it made me think that, I'm not good enough. With friendships, I remember I was always the one who gave the most energy and the most maintenance to maintain the relationships that I had with friends. So it was very one-sided, it felt like, from my side. I would always make an effort to keep in contact. I would organize things and invite. I would make dinners, while I would make sure that we are in each other's lives. So I went out of my way to do those things. But then when I heard that the other friend was organizing something or inviting or making a dinner or something, I wasn't included, I wasn't invited, and it made me feel very excluded and just made me think like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not invited? What is this? And so I would always overthink like, why? And that took a lot of energy for me, and it was exhausting. Now at work, I would always say yes to requests, to ad hoc requests that with tight deadlines. And in meetings, I would rarely raise my voice and give my feedback, give my opinion on ideas, on projects, because I wanted to be agreeable, and I kind of was afraid that people would judge me, that would just put me down, and that gave me a lot of stress. And also, I was kind of afraid to speak up when I knew I deserved more, when it's a salary or a promotion or a title or a different role, something better. Because I was just afraid that, again, from like negative feedback and actually being fired. So I felt like if I'm easygoing colleague, then people would like me better and it would be better for me. But it didn't turn out this way, actually. And now in dating, this one is very, very uncomfortable and vulnerable. After a very long reflection, I realized that with men, I craved approval. Every time I met someone and we went on a date, actually even before the date, when we were just texting, when I got compliments, I really took it as unproportionate gratification. Way, way too much. And when a guy would say he liked me, I took it to a level that wasn't really healthy. And so it kind of felt like I'm outsourcing my self-worth. So if the compliments weren't coming or suddenly they ghosted me, I would feel so bad and like everything went out the window and it's a disaster. And my confidence would collapse. So I always wanted to impress, to seduce, to be desirable. But I realized that I wasn't really asking myself, do I actually like this guy? Or do I just like the feeling of being chosen? And that really changed how I see myself in relationships with men. Now, the cost of being a people pleaser in all those areas in my life was quite grave. And I realized it only today, at 37. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't know who I was. My identity wasn't really feasible. It took a lot of energy from me, mental energy and overthinking about all those instances. And of course, I didn't have my self-value, a self-respect, just because I kind of gave it away by trying to be likable and please the other people. Now, how did I start to unlearn people pleasing? Basically, I would say mindfulness and self-reflection. And what triggered it actually was this just one day that I really felt bad and I just was crying and I didn't know why. And eventually I decided to go to therapy. And in therapy, I was in therapy for 3 years, and there the therapist gave me so many tools for reflecting and understanding and questioning and throughout the time when I was in therapy, of course, I reflected on memories also, really strong memories that shaped me, that are there, and they were kind of like milestones in my life. And rethinking, going back to that memory really made me understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and how I can kind of like change my mindset around it, and change my behavior, and how to do it and what to do exactly. Journaling really helped, and to be honest, also just detoxing my time and day and life from distractions and noise. So, for example, I would notice that whenever I need to distract myself from me and my thoughts, I would text somebody, when in fact I just needed to sit down with my thoughts. It's really scary at first, and just sit there with them and understand them and try to follow, like, how did I get here? What am I thinking? Why am I behaving this way? Why am I feeling this way? Where did it come from? And then journaling about it. And this really, really, really helped, in a sense that I took out everything that I had here and here into a paper or on the laptop, and it was there, and I was able to kind of like understand it better when it was words out outside of me, if that makes sense. And so this really helped me slowly and gradually change my behavior. So yes, it cost some friends and relationships. The friends that I was trying to maintain and so on, and it was one-sided. I noticed that if I don't text, if I don't reach out, they don't reach out to me. So I said, okay, that's fine. I don't need to put the energy somewhere where I don't give back. And this was the result. But it came also with the good thing that the people, the circle that I have around me, these are people who respect those boundaries, and they understand, and we share the same kind of relationship, which is two-sided, not just one-sided. And we want to be friends and maintain it, so it goes both ways. But this actually felt lighter, because I know that I invest the energy in the right people who will invest the same in me. Now, it's an ongoing journey. We are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's always room for improvement. But I am a completely different person than I was 2 years ago. I understand better who I am, what I want, what I stand for, my values, what are my limits, what are my absolutely no-nos. And I learned to keep my peace also. I don't engage in things that deplete me, and I made it a habit to save time for me and my thoughts, and have space for self-care and not escape. And yeah, this shift really changed my life. I feel lighter. My relationships with people are much more intentional and more quality over quantity. And so here it is. I'm curious to know, what do you think? Does this resonate? Are you also a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser? I would like to know, so please let me know in the comments. I would like to discuss this, to start a conversation about it. And if you're also rebuilding your life, discovering yourself, then check out my ebook. The link is down below. And please like and subscribe to help the algorithm make this available to other people that might need it. Until next time, stay dashing!